Recording in progress.
Hello, sir. Can you see and hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State your name and DOC number for the record, please.
Dustin Stidham, 278-928.
All right, Mr. Stidham, my name is Mr. Helbig. On the screen with me today is Miss Fields and Mr. Dayglow. We are the 3 parole board members that'll be hearing your case and rendering a decision today. Have you ever been in front of the parole board before, sir?
No, sir.
All right. So I'm going to briefly describe how this is going to flow. At any time, whether it's now or all the way through the hearing, if you have a question, don't hesitate to stop us and ask it, okay? It's your hearing. All right. What I'll do first is I'll read your resident record card. After I go through that, let me get all the way through it. If there's an error, bring it to our attention. We can't make that correction, but at least for today's hearing, we'll all be playing on the same field, right?
Right.
All right. And after that, we'll talk about the crimes that got you here today, why you're incarcerated in our system. We'll talk about any programs or disciplinary issues you've had. We'll look at your criminal history. And because this is a parole hearing, we'll discuss if you were granted parole, where would you live? What would you do for a living? How would you be a constructive citizen here in the Commonwealth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It says here you have a 9th grade education. Sir, have you gotten your GED or have you worked towards that at all?
I'm working on it right now.
You're working on it right now. Okay. I asked that question for this reason. If there, for some reason, is something that I or my colleagues say that you don't completely and thoroughly understand or comprehend, please stop us. We'll be happy to rephrase it. We want you treated fairly. We want you to understand everything that's going on today. Okay? So feel free. Do you have any other disabilities or anything that would prevent you can hear well, see well, all those things?
Yeah.
All right, great. Last thing, we have multiple computer screens in front of us. I got notes. We know everything about you, Mr. Stidham. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. We do our research beforehand. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and stare at this camera, and my colleagues aren't going to stare at the camera. As you can see right now, they're looking at different notes. They're looking at different things. Doesn't mean we're not completely paying attention to what you're saying. It just means we're verifying what you're saying. We're thinking of the next question, marking off the list of questions that we have that we need to get done. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. All right, so I've got that. Make sure that's right. Okay, great. Thank you, Miss Ingram. I've got Dustin Stidham. You're 37 years of age, currently lodged at the Little Sandy Correctional Complex. You're in a medium custody status with a parole eligibility of 3 of 25. You're serving a 16-year sentence for escape in the 2nd degree, tampering with a prisoner monitoring device, theft by unlawful taking over 5 but less than 10, assault 3rd on a police officer or probation officer, and burglary in the 1st degree. You've served 3 years and 6 days. You have 8 years, 2 months remaining. I show no loss of good time. I do, however, show that you were on shock probation from 2022 to 2024 for 636 days before that was revoked. And I do currently show a felony detainer from Perry County for public intoxication, resisting arrest, menacing, disorderly conduct, possession of a defaced firearm, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, terroristic threatening 3rd, and being a persistent felony offender in the 1st degree. All right. Does all of that information sound accurate, sir?
All except for the detainer is I've already took time on it.
Okay.
And they just ain't, I don't know if they just ain't added it or what. I took a year on the firearm and the PFO and everything was dismissed.
Okay. So that you're telling me the detainer's been dealt with. One of my
Yes.
colleagues wouldn't mind to take a second to look in CourtNet and verify that. That'd be great. Okay. We'll verify that you have had that dealt with. And what you'll need to do is if you've done that, regardless if you're paroled or you're deferred, okay, you're not eligible until March, no matter what. So even if we said, hey, you get paroled, you're 2 months still left in. Get with your caseworker, tell them, hey, I got a detainer showing that shouldn't be shown, and DOC can get that corrected for you, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So to be clear, you took a 1-year sentence added on to what you have now, basically for the possession of the handgun by a felon charge, right?
Yeah, firearm.
Okay. or the firearm, not a handgun. Yeah, the possession of a firearm. Everything else was a misdemeanor. Did you catch anything for the PFO?
They dismissed it.
They dismissed the PFO. Okay, great. All right, that's good. So we're all on the same page with that. We'll get that. We'll get that looked into. All right. So, looking at the charges that have you here today, the escape charge is on the first indictment. What were you incarcerated for to catch an escape charge?
Oh, I got incarcerated on the assault on a police officer and bonded out.
Right.
And they put me on an ankle bracelet.
Okay, so let's stop there. We'll go back to you're out of Perry County. Who'd you get in a fight with?
City police.
All right. What city was that?
Hazard.
Okay, so you're in Hazard. Why are you fighting a city police officer?
Honestly, I don't know what happened. I was in a meth psychosis. And I really don't.
You were zipped up on meth and you got into it with police.
Yeah, and I don't know really. I can't tell you what happened that night. I don't know.
Okay, did you hurt the police officer?
He says I did.
Well,
what
did he say you did? What kind of injury did he
have? His knee or something.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if when we hit the ground or I really don't know what happened.
Okay. So you don't know what happened, but at the end of the day, you got in a fight with the police and you hurt the guy.
Yes.
All right. All right. So good deal. I say good deal. It ain't good deal at all. You ain't allowed to fight the police, man. You're not allowed to fight the police. You're not allowed to fight our guards. You're not allowed to fight P&P. Be honest with you. Don't fight anybody. It's a violent thing. We don't like violence, right?
Yeah.
All right. You have a theft over 500, less than 10,000. What is that?
That's for the ankle monitor.
Okay. So you fought the police. They put you on home incarceration?
Yes.
All right. So you're on HIP. You decided I won't be on HIP. So you cut the bracelet and disposed of it. And then they called that an escape, right?
Yeah.
How long were you gone before they found you?
It took them about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Was that a good decision?
No, it definitely wasn't. Yeah. They're definitely not worth 3 felonies.
Because here's the thing I'll tell you, Mr. Stidham. If I'm on HIP, I'm going to be the best Xbox player in the history of the world because I ain't got nothing else to do but sit at my house and play Xbox. And now you're inside a building with walls. And you don't get to play Xbox, do you?
No.
Right. Sometimes we try to help you. And I know a lot of people in that building right there don't think that we do. A lot of times, that's what we're actually trying to do the right thing. Right? All right. So you had all those. How do you have, so were you out on shock when you did this burglary and that's what revoked your shock?
No, it come from a earlier charge and it took them years to indict me on.
Okay.
So they'd already probated me on the assault and the escape and then indicted me on the burglary from 2019.
Okay. So let me ask you this, first of all. Now that you've been in for 3 years and you know that there's a lot of people that are in for assault third on an officer and for theft and for escape, what kind of gift did you give up the fact that you got probated on all that stuff?
I give up raising my son out there right now.
Yeah.
My freedom.
You were being given a massive gift to begin with that I mean, geez, how'd you not recognize that as a gift?
Yeah.
So, all right. So they came back and indicted you the burglary. What'd you break into? Whose house?
A house. I'm not sure who they was.
All right. What'd you take from
them? 2 guns.
Okay. Well, therein lies a little bit more of your problem. You got to stay away from guns now, right?
Yes.
All right. So you get shocked on all of that stuff, right?
Yes.
So you're already given this great gift of probated for a lot of it. Then you get the burglary, and the judge is nice enough to shock you. You're out on shock, and then I guess that's when you caught all of these other new charges, which then violated your shock.
No,
How'd you
I
violate your shock? What'd you do?
she they shot me to rehab,
Okay.
and I didn't complete rehab, so that violated my shock probation.
Okay.
And while I was on the run, I ended up catching the new charges.
So how long were you absconded for on your shock?
I'm not really sure. Maybe 7, 8 months.
Okay. Man, Mr. Stidham, you're running out of good graces, man. I mean, everybody's giving you a million chances and you ain't taking advantage of any of them. I mean, not any of them. Okay. Um, I'm looking at your disciplinaries. You had two disciplinaries last year. One, I'm not, you didn't use the telephone right. Okay, listen, I'm not making light of it. You need to follow every rule that there is. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not swinging a lock at somebody and knocking somebody out. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But you got disrespectful, threatening language towards a non-inmate. I said earlier, you're not allowed to fight with the police. Listen, these guards, they basically work for us. These probation parole officers, they basically work for us. So when you're being mouthy to them, it's the same as you being mouthy to the three of us sitting here today, right?
Yeah.
All right. What did you do that day?
It was really a misunderstanding. I was using the restroom, and the CO opened my door up, and I said some stuff I probably shouldn't have said.
I'll tell you this: it shouldn't be probably shouldn't have said. You said things you should not have said.
Yeah.
To the CO. Hey, I'm taking a whiz right now. Give me a second. You know, here's the thing: we know, and you know, a lot of stuff's flushed, a lot of stuff's hidden in John. Those COs are doing their job, and you need to not act that way towards them, man. That's not cool. All right, so those were the only two you had in 2024, and you hadn't had anything except for before that because you've been here before, right?
Yeah.
2015 to 2019, you were incarcerated uh, in our system. Now, I'll be honest with you, looking at the fact that you have spent time in our system. Let me find out exactly what that was for. That was an assault second charge that you caught in 2014, right?
Yes.
Who'd you assault then?
It was a drug deal gone bad, and
Okay.
a woman got shot.
And a woman got shot. All right, Mr. Stidham, I'm not trying to be smart ass, a hard ass, whatever. But your criminal history is horrible. Your criminal history is full of threats and drugs and assaults, uh, theft. The thing that really bothers me the most is all of these assaults. It's like you don't know how to control your anger, and that leads you to physical violence. And I don't know in a million years how the judge took pity on you to probate you based off all of these assaults when you assaulted a police officer. I don't know how they did it. And then to shock you on top of that after something else, and you'd already spent all this time in the system. I don't know how they did that. I don't know why they did that. You don't normally see that with people that have been as violent as you've been. Tell me about your anger. Why can't you control your anger?
A lot of it just drug use,
Okay.
and that had a lot to do with a lot of my problems. Just being out of my head, not paying attention to what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Because pretty soon here you're gonna kill somebody. You know that, right? You keep being this violent. One's already been shot. One's already been done. You don't figure out this drug problem you've got and get it under control. This is going to end badly. Your pattern is not a good pattern. So let's see what we've done to combat that. Um, so since you've been in this go round, you completed thinking for good. Good on you. That's good. You just finished that last month. You're in day school, so you're getting your GED. That's a huge step forward. And then you're in SAP program right now. Is that right?
Yeah, I graduate next week,
You graduate next week.
the 5th of February.
Yeah. How are you graduating next week? You just started October.
I
You
started in
should
July.
have. You started in July. Why is this showing? All right, hold on a second. Why were you put on hold in the program?
That's when I caught the disciplinary for the disrespectful language. I was put hold for 15 days.
All right, so you popped off to the guard. You got the hold. They put you on hold. I'm really surprised they let you back in, starting where you left off. Right. That's another gift you've been given because not very many people get to start where they left off. They usually recycle you all the way through. But they let you back in after almost a month pause. Is that right?
17 days or something.
Yeah. 9/13 is when you got put on hold and you came back in 10/03. So, yeah. And so you're set to graduate the 5th. What have you learned in SAP, man?
I've learned a lot about this. I really falls back into the anger and the triggers and stuff that could set you off to make you do stuff you should, we know
All
we're
right.
not
What's your
supposed to
number
do.
one trigger? If you had to tell me your number one trigger, what is it?
Old people, just for people that I used to run around with, hang around.
Okay. So why should you? I mean, what is your plan? Let's say I open the door right now. Where you gonna go?
Me going back to my grandmother's house, Hazard. I have a job waiting on me.
Okay.
Uh, I got a son out there right now that I've not got to hold yet. He'll be a year old March 2nd.
Okay.
And that's my
So
main focus on everything.
yeah. So I'm gonna stop you right there. You just told me your number one trigger was the old people that I was around. Hazard ain't much bigger than this room I'm sitting in, and you and I both know that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it the best idea that you go right back into the lion's den where you were at, where the fights happen, the assaults happen, the dope's there? When you get back, your old buddies that use meth are going to come up to you. Do you think that'd be a good plan?
Here's the thing about it this time around, like, then people won't be around me because, like I said, I got this son that's more important to me than any drug or
Okay.
any other person out there.
All right.
And plus also I got a buddy where he runs sober living homes up there. His name's Chad Clemens. That'll help me with anything I need. I got sponsors when I get out there. Like I got a plan of like something I never had before when I was in last time. Like I
Okay.
know what I want, what I'm gonna do.
All right. Tell me about your baby mom.
She's been in recovery for almost 3 years now. She's clean, doing good. She take care of my son.
All right. Is she a felon?
Yeah, but me and her are probably not gonna be together.
Yeah. You and her can't be together.
Yeah, it's
You would not be allowed to associate with a convicted felon. And then therein lies a problem. She has custody of is it your son? Is that right?
yes.
She has custody of your son, and you have to interact to be able to see your son. Do you have any custody at all, partial custody, anything?
Yeah, I mean we'll be joint custody, I guess, or
You say you guess. Has that been established by the
like
court?
we really talked about what like she's not gonna try to keep him from me or nothing like that or anything.
Okay. All right. So that makes me ask this question. You say you're going to be around your son. You say she's not going to keep him away from you. but you're not allowed to associate with her, I will then lead the question, do you need to live in Hazard, or could you live 30 minutes or an hour away to come and go and see?
I mean, if
You
that's
see
what
what
it
I'm
takes,
concerned with. I mean, Mr. You see what I'm concerned with,
yeah,
right? I'm not playing games with you. I don't I think your problem is you're in small town Kentucky,
you know,
which is great. I'm small town Kentucky too. I don't have a problem with that. It's just that your options of living life get limited when you can't be around a lot of people that do dope, right?
yeah. If it took
All
me
right.
having to go somewhere, relocate somewhere else to what it takes, then I'm more than willing.
All right. Okay. Um, I ain't gonna lie to you. You just took this new charge. I'm not. I mean, I appreciate our programs, and I think our programs are important, especially the SAP program. But there's something to be said that you have to serve a penalty for committing crimes, right? I mean, not everything about being in the penitentiary is program and rehabilitation is, and some of it is adult timeout. You've done something wrong, you got to pay a little penalty for it. So we're verifying that and looking into that. I don't have any additional questions at this point. Um, I may have some here in just a second. I need to recollect my thoughts on some stuff. Miss Fields, do you have any questions of Mr. Stidham?
No, I believe you've covered it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dayglow.
The only thing I would want to talk to him about briefly, Mr. Stidham, is in that Perry County case, which it shows as a detainer, and you said that's been taken care of. That Perry County case is 24 CR 53, charges public intox, resisting arrest, menacing, disorderly, possession of a defaced firearm, and all that stuff. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the offenses, I don't even know when they occurred. I'm looking at notes on that. You committed these offenses around February 1st of 24 is what it's saying. The order I'm looking at, it is headed as it's a probation order, meaning you would have got probation on that. But reading the document itself says you were to serve 1 year to run consecutive. Is that correct? Is it your understanding that got probated or that you were supposed to run that consecutive?
It was supposed to run consecutive.
Okay, that's what I was thinking as well. Just to be triple cautious on that, I think you're probably still parole eligible. But I am not sure because that additional term of custody as to 24 CR 53 should be showing up on something that we look at called a resident record card. And to my knowledge, it is not. Is somebody else seeing it? Then I'm not seeing it.
No,
No, it's not there.
it's not there.
You don't
So
mind? I'm going to have a lady that's looking into that answer something for me real quick. Miss Ingram, have you had an opportunity to look at that and see if he's parole eligible, ma'am?
I can't say whether he would be parole eligible with it or not. I just know that if he receives a decision today and then it's entered, he's going to get a new eligibility date.
Okay.
And with it being 1 year consecutive, it should just be, I would think, next available.
Okay. So
Do
do
you
you
want
think
me
Miss
to get
Ingram
with
can think it's-
records real quick?
if you could, that would be great, just to make sure.
Okay.
We still got a minute or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The gist of it is, Mr. Stidham, that 1 year would be on 20%. And even though it would be 2 months, or actually a little more than 2 months, it still would throw your parole eligibility from March down to May, most likely. And we would be in violation of statute to render a decision today if that's the case.
So we don't want to do that. And unfortunately, it was headed wrong in our listing, and it said probation. So I'm sure when somebody looked at it and it said probation, they were thinking it would not have an effect on your parole eligibility date. Does that make sense, Mr. Stidham?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to go forward with that. We don't want to give you false hope today. We don't want to put you in a bad spot. We want to make sure we got our information correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Dago, do you have any other questions other than that specific issue?
No, Mr. Stidham, I'm appreciative of the fact that you seem to be coming around to understanding that there's a different way of life and that you don't have to live through this muck and mire, man. You don't sound like a dumb man, but they know who you are. they're going to continue to pay attention to you. You're like an easy mark over there. I would think they're like, let's just go find Dustin. We need somebody to arrest today for something he's doing wrong. Don't give him the gratification of that. Get yourself right. Take care of your kid, man. Stop this stuff. You're young enough where you got a whole lot of life left. So now's the time, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I tell you what we're going to do, Mr. Stidham. We're going to go off screen. We're going to go ahead and start discussing your case. While we're doing that, we'll get that information back from records, and we'll make a decision. It may be a little bit of longer deliberation than what we would normally have. Just sit patiently right there. We'll come back and render a decision here in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right. Sit tight for me. We'll be right back with you.
All right. So I see some of your comments on here. A lot of you guys feel like he hasn't done any work. Mad Max Foot writes, I feel for the dude's son, but little piece of heaven right here. I was like, I don't know how you made this, but hey, keep him coming. Never turn that down. Turn down for what? Yeah, she's gone like the wind. She's just getting to me. She's like, you're talking to me. Oh, they're back. I'm gonna put it on radio.
Recording in progress.
All right, Mr. Stidham, can you see and hear me again, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. That Department of Corrections. I don't have any control over them. They have moved your parole eligibility date. You are now not eligible for parole until June of 2025. State law requires us to see you 2 months in advance of that eligibility date. So your eligibility will move from today. You will probably have some type of a hearing in April is when I can do that. Now, I want to tell you this. That's probably a little bit better thing for you, Mr. Stidham, because this board, we were going to hang on to you for a minute. And one of the things we're going to hang on to you and have you do was anger management. You're on the wait list for anger management. You have an anger issue. It's probably drug related. But nonetheless, it's still an anger issue. So when you get done with SAP next week, I would do whatever I could do to get them to put you into anger management between now and April. And that way you'll look a little bit better in front of the next board that you see. I recognize my problems. I'm trying to get that corrected. Yeah. Now, that does not mean that they're going to cut you loose. I don't want to imply that in any way. But just trying to help you out. Those are things that I think you probably need help with, is your drug issue and your anger issue, right? All right. So therefore, there is no decision for today, and you're free to go back to wherever the CO there wants you to do, and you'll be back in front of the board in April. All right. Thanks, sir.
Good luck, man.
Recording stopped.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Problem.
All right. One left that's in the shoe.
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Burnett, you wanted a waiver for serve out
Yep.